All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Bilpod Bagcast. And I am joined by my very special guest for the inaugural episode. We have the Fat Hobbit. So, hey, man, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's quite an honor for me, I have to say. First host.
Yeah, I
We'll see.
mean,
We'll see. I'm very interested by this.
maybe this could be the first episode. This could be the last episode. Who knows how this is going to go? But hopefully, it'll be the first of many. So we've just played a game. So to introduce the concept of the podcast to those who have never seen this before, or obviously most of you have never seen this before, the idea is I play a game against somebody, and we play the game. That'll be a separate video that you can watch. And now we're going to discuss the game and then just have a chat, have like a mini kind of interview chat kind of thing. So we've just played a game of Loam, which I felt was appropriate. You're like a big Loam guy, a big Wome guy. I'm less experienced than you, I thought it was a fun game. What did you think of the game?
No, I think it was fun. I don't know how much we want to give right away. I don't know if you want to make like a more linear narration of the game. But
yeah, so I would recommend to anyone who doesn't want spoilers, go and watch the other video now. But in terms of how the game went, I would describe it as pretty one-sided in terms of like the hunt. And the general kind of, I mean, you had some pretty bad combat dice, but I think I was like -7, -8 movement. And I also had you can't see my cards. I didn't have much in the way of card options either. So there wasn't like, I could do this, I could do that. So I felt like I had to do something kind of crazy, which kind of got close. It was kind of close.
I got scared there. I got scared for sure in the end because I was like, damn, I did not consider this. But then I was like, I mean, I have a good shot. I didn't have the best card for the last two. I had the one Deadly Strive.
I was worried about that. I thought you might have another Deadly Strive to take it down.
Yeah, but on the other one, I was like, I really need to rely. Like, I did a quicker calculation, and I thought I could get up to something like 60 rolls, between 60 and 100 rolls because of the Loam version of the mouth of Sauron. So I was like, okay, I guess I can do it, but
let's see.
Also, it's fun. If it doesn't work out, it's fun. So, who cares?
Yeah, like I feel like maybe there was part of me that was thinking perhaps I could have done the Path of the Woses, and then I could have attacked into Minas Tirith and then tried to free Boromir. Or maybe I could have gone around to take Pelargir and taken back Dol Amroth. Like, there were other things I could have done. But since I didn't have the 6th die for Aragorn, I just thought, screw it, man. Let's just let's just end it like now or never. Let's just go for it. And
when did you get the Path of the Woses card?
Quite early.
I was quite early. That's why.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I had it like maybe turn 4 or something like that, and I had that combined with the what's it called? I Will Go Alone. And since I'd already got Helm Deep kind of big, I was like, maybe I can do something here. And I managed to get like a mega army. It was like a huge army. I think it was like a 4-5-3 or something. So I thought what I was scared of, what I was most scared of is you just moving a single regular to Druiden Forest.
I thought about it in a long time, and then I was like, why didn't you do it? Because I was thinking about it for a long time. I was like, you just need to
press the
I don't know. I'm still in that phase when I'm playing sometimes that I feel like I have good ideas, but for whatever reason, I have this kind of approach. Was like, okay, but that's not going to happen to me. Come on, which is like, no, man, like that's going to happen to you. Like, just do the damn thing. I don't know. I'm kind of lazy in approach. I don't know. Like, hey, okay, like I don't want to send a regular there. Like, I want to do more important stuff. But like,
it feels like
kind of important.
It's like eating your vegetables. It's doing your homework. Is like moving the one guy.
Bravo.
It's not a fun move. And then if you lose because you're like a little bit slow with the attacks, you think, oh, why did I waste my time moving one guy to there? But I think like if you had done that, I would have been screwed. I don't know what I would have done. I was the one thing I was hoping for. Maybe I should have gone through more character cards. Was Debin. I've done Harrow. So then I could have separated Strider and then taken back Paladin. Because Umbar was open, so like maybe I could do something there. I don't know. That was my kind of plan B.
Yeah, I was thinking about that manner for a long time, but then like you really need to draw that card. And the problem with Loam is that you add 4 extra character cards, so like the probability of drawing into that is like even less compared to base. So yeah, maybe if you had no other chances, most likely yes. But then I was thinking, like, what if you started your military plans 1 turn earlier?
I did think about
It's
it.
like,
I did think about it. Yeah. But the way
but then maybe I had the masters results. That's the reason. I think I had the
that
second
was
to
it.
last turn.
You
I
had
had all
so
those
many
masters.
That's what scared me. I was like, the one thing that worked in my advantage was the fact that you had no elites left in the pool. So, but then you could have just like attacked into, maybe you could have attacked into Minas Tirith, killed some elites, and then I don't know. But then that would have bought me time in Minas Tirith, perhaps.
Yeah.
So,
Perhaps.
I was thinking about that, but the way I figured it was like I couldn't win that turn. I felt like I could maybe win the next turn, but yeah, it was too big a risk, I think. Yeah,
I was actually scared on the Dol Guldur front. It was like, this guy's gonna attack with 1 regular, he's gonna take it for sure. Like the one time you feel safe is like.
Well, the one thing actually is like I think if having a token could have actually been really big in this game, just to change the order around, give me a little bit more time because it's in these games where that token could be so important, just to switch the mood order by 1, give me the last turn of the round and then the first turn, like to do a military shit. So that was what it would have been nice. But yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember in Loam, like the statistics are slightly changed. There's like a slightly upper end, not an upper end, but like it's slightly more in favor for the 3 people compared to base game, but
like
not that much.
4%, I think, difference. It's like I think.
Yeah.
But I noticed,
and
like,
I think.
Sorry,
Go on, sorry.
In like the big high level like finals of the Loam, like even then, like saved by him against Romp, they're still using like 10 tokens to play as Shadow, or in like like 7 or 8 tokens sometimes. So it shows that even despite like it being a little bit better, people still want to play as a Shadow in Loam anyway.
Yeah, and that's a big thing you mentioned, because exactly for that I was going to say that I feel like yes, there is that kind of statistics for Loam, but as long as like you go more into like pro playing, it's not really a term that I like, but the more you go up, let's say in the ladder ranking, it becomes like we find again the polarization that we see in base game, like the Shadow totally has the upper end, and this is because I feel like I don't know, at the end of the day, the military way for the Shadow to me is the best one, even in Loam. I don't know if you noticed, at some point I stopped cycling card on the Fellowship with the Witch King, because I was like, no, I have better stuff to do. Like I could have kept going, and that's something that I struggled a lot for a long time myself when learning Loam, because I was like, how much should I give attention to one aspect or the other? Like I really don't know. And I've come to the conclusion personally that I really need to focus militarily, always. And yes, occasionally you have maybe you have that bad roll, and you roll a quizillion of Palantirs. Maybe that can be handy if you have the alternative Witch King, the chief of the ring rates. Fair enough. And maybe yes, cycling some good cards, it can be helpful. But otherwise, I don't know, like just
I feel like with I mean, obviously there's luck in everything in War of the Ring, but I feel like the strategy element of the Shadow military is a little bit more in your control. You know, when you're going hard on the character cards, it's just you can just have games where it's like I for every tile drawing card, or you're not getting the right tile drawing card, and then the tiles in Mordor are, you know, you're getting zeros, and Smeagol's dancing his way up. So I feel like if you're really like the very best players, I mean, however you want to describe it, I feel like they're so efficient with every die when it comes to military, because it's all in their control. You know, they use the right number of cards in the right places. And okay, sometimes you get screwed because you can't roll 6s, but if you're playing the right cards, it still improves your chances. So yeah, I agree with you. I think like that's probably the way to go, right?
Yeah. And I also feel like that in Loam, this element of out of your control that you just mentioned on the corruption game side is even more out of your control because really, like I had a big discussion with the Italian community about this, but I really feel like that. Actually, this is an interesting point. I feel like sometimes if you're facing an opponent that is stronger compared to you in Loam, and you play with Shadow, you should go full on corruption.
Right.
Because in my own experience, is a little bit like the toss of a coin.
Yeah.
Not to mention
Yep.
Strider 656 with his
Oh,
cone, like the coins of Middle Earth, but
Coins of Middle-earth,
it's a little bit like that because it can go beautifully or horrendously. Like I had games with the Shadow playing corruption. I just won maybe in 6 turns corruption. I remember once I played it against B. Healy, and it was just disgusting. I mean, I felt very sorry for him. I was like, oh my god, like what's going on? I was just cycle.
Yeah, I think it's
But sometimes it can be go completely south. Like you keep cycling this card, as you mentioned, I on the Orc Patrol or Foul Thing or whatever, or Smeagol. Smeagol is a big variable as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it feels a bit more like a casino because there are players. You know, I respect the commitment to the style. There are players that always put in 3 eyes like every turn, and it's if you can beat anyone with that style, but you can lose to anyone with that style because you're taking away some of the agency. So it's kind of, and they can do it like better than most people because they practiced it so well. They know like all the little tricks, but it's still just kind of like it's more like a casino, you know.
Indeed. Well, sometimes it works. So
yeah.
Why not?
So you kind of touched upon it there, like in the Italian War of the Ring community. I'd quite like to hear a bit more about that because it's quite cool. I've noticed that there are these little sub communities within the kind of Discord community. You've got like the Italian community, the Spanish community, the Russian community. Maybe there are some others as well. But like, would you mind just talking a bit about that? How it all works?
Oh well, it's a group that exists from, I don't think yet 3 years, but like we're closer from being 3 years now. And well, simply enough, it was actually was born from the Facebook page.
Oh, really?
There was an Italian Facebook page, which I think preceded the international one, actually. And at the time, yeah, and there were already big names already at the time in that Italian Facebook group. Roberto Di Meglio, Nepitello, like the authors of the game.
Actual creators, right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. It was not founded by them. It was founded by Stefano Pozzi. And sorry for the cat passing by. Anyway, yeah, from there, people were starting to play online. The true veterans, as we call them, in the Italian community, were namely Giulio 1893.
Right.
It was like one of the first ones, and Cello Jim as well. That was the
Cello Jim. Okay, yeah, I played them last year in the tournament actually. Right, cool.
Yeah, indeed. And yes, those were the first true veterans playing online. They were playing against a very strong player. Like Cello Jim always tells the story that his first opponent online was Guilforn.
Oh, wow.
Guilforn, I don't know. Yeah, that he taught him a lot, actually. And like his story... actually, his story was quite interesting for me because since the beginning, you could tell that the international community was very nice and very welcoming and very open to give suggestions. Like it was not like a very toxic environment. I don't know what to say, because Cello Jim, like for example, got plenty of suggestions from Guilford, and that was nice. And then we grew little by little, and in the first year we started already with an Italian championship on our own, as we were doing also the international one. In the first year of our community, the biggest player was Pacha.
I've seen Pacha on the list.
Pacha was the man.
Yeah.
Was the man. Now he has stopped playing in the last 1 year and a half. He has not touched the game at all. but he was the man. He was pretty much high in the ranking. He did not do. He did not qualify for the top cut of the World Championship. That was the 2022 World Championship. But we played against each other in the finals of the Italian Championship.
Oh, really?
But
Nice.
I got there. I think it was right for me to get to the final, but versus Pacha I had no chances, and it was like the best of three, and I lost 2 games in a row. I was like, that's how it's supposed to be. And then we also had in the same year the first Lome Championship.
As in, like, for the Italian Loam.
Yeah, the Italian law, but there was a guy, there's still a guy, now he's slightly less active, a guy in the Italian community that doesn't play, but like he organizes a lot of stuff called Simone Dell'Agnello. And that guy like created the Lome, first Lome Championship because he's a big fanatic of the expansion. And there again, Pacha won the second Italian Championship, one after the other. And after that, I was like, I'm done. Like, there is no match for me. And then he went to doing other stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And you got to the final. I mean, like, my tournament, I've only been playing online for, like, I don't know, like coming up a year and a half. So I've only played in 1 World Championships and 1 Loam. I think I've won like 1 match, like 1 single game. I've just had, I mean, obviously I'm sure I made mistakes, but like, I think my like fellowship movement is like -12 or -15, like across all my games. So like, I'm just having the worst. But I did want to talk about one other thing you mentioned there, how like nice the community is on Discord in general. I think I've never been part of, I've been a part of few communities, but never to this extent. But it's so nice. Everyone's so supportive. You know, people chat to you afterwards, and like, I don't think I've been part of an online game community that's like so like non-toxic.
Yeah, personally, I don't have too much experience in online communities because, like, on my nerd side, I have very few picks that but like they
just
are
a
like
few
very bad
small, and
ones.
then you go big.
Yeah. Like I had Magic when I was young, then I had D&D for a period, and then I had these. So it's like these are like my things, and I go full on them when I go on them. But so I don't have too much of a knowledge in general about these online communities. But yes, I was immediately struck by the kindness of the community. I was very touched by it.
So one other thing I wanted to talk to you about specifically is you're like, whenever I see you post like looking for games, you're always looking for WOM. Like, you're a big WOM guy, right? I've never played WOM. It looks interesting. I know a little bit about it, having read about it. I've never like, could you maybe, what's your like, I'm sure a lot of people who watch this have probably only played a little bit or don't have much experience of WOM. So what would be your like, how would you sell WOM to someone who's never played WOM?
I'm not a good seller in general, but I will say this. This is also interesting because, by the way, we have an Italian podcast for the game.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
cool.
like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We have one. Is hosted both by me and this other guy, the administrator. I couldn't get to the name. The administrator of the Facebook Italian page. We have this podcast, and we talk about Tolkien. The books and the games, so like
so all
we
things Lord of the Rings
up.
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. We put it all together, and we dedicated one episode to WOM because me and another Italian player that absolutely adores WOM, which is Spartaco. Spartaco maybe doesn't do too many looking for game on the international server, but he absolutely adores the expansion. We had a chat and we were trying to make a video on how we like, it was kind of in defense of WOM, like we were trying to make a list of all the things. Like, we didn't have the counterpart like, I like this, but then the other guy is like, no, I hate this.
It was
like,
just everyone loves it. Everyone loves it, you know.
No, we felt like there is enough hate for WOM. We just need to bring some love because for the Loam episode, we did one part supporting it, the other part being like, but I see these problems. But for the WOM one, now we went full on love. And actually, that kind of helped some members of the Italian community because they were like we received like very nice feedback. They were like, you actually helped me to reevaluate this expansion. And I think the main points are, okay, it's not an easy expansion. This is for sure. That's for sure. Like if somebody wants to have like some quick integration from base game, there is no way I'm going to suggest LOM. Like LOM all the way. By the way, like I adore LOM as well. So it's like that's absolutely something that you should do. But for me, if you're looking for a game where you kind of have kind of more in control of the stuff, and not only that, in terms of flavor. So there is an aspect of you're more in control, according to me, to the new elements. Which sounds strange to most at first time they hear it, but I think one of the reasons that like you convert 6 cards from the 3 people's decks and 3 cards from the shadow deck into 2 full new decks of 20 cards each.
Wow. Okay.
Which are a new variable per se. And in terms of variable, those cards help. The more variables introduced, this is more like a mathematical thing, but like a statistical thing. But the more variables introduced that are independent of each other, the more like you get to a kind of an average. Like you get closer to an average of possibilities of those game scenarios. Less variables there are, the more variance there is. Maybe a good intuition about this could be simply the corruption game. As you said, like we really roll few dices. The hand tile is limited, so like there are 2 variables and that's it. And according to what happens there, pretty much anything can happen. According to the case, WOM is more like yes, anything can happen, but it's more centered to some like it's not linear, but I would say it's like it's more equal. In some sense.
Okay, so weirdly, by adding more options, it's actually balanced it out a little bit more.
Yes.
Because I would have thought that, like, if you know, the more complex a game is, I would have thought the harder it is to balance because, you know, there can be someone can figure out like a weird, you know, can break the game or find out, you know, slight imbalances that are harder to fix. But that's not the case with WOM.
No, I mean, for sure there is that element that you just said. But let's say that we have 2 new decks, and in both decks, the strongest card of one deck is equal to the strongest card of the other deck. And let's say that the range of power in that deck is the same in both decks, and you provide those 2 players these 2 new decks. Actually, there are more chances that the overall game is equilibrated in some sense.
Right, okay.
And I had such crazy end games with WOM. I had such many crazy end games, and I tried to make a point about them by making more battle rappers about them. Like every time I get, which are not rare, by the way. Like now we're doing our first Italian WOM championship.
Oh, really?
And
oh, cool.
I think of the 6 games that we played so far, no, maybe a little bit more than that. I think it's around 8. Out of the 8 games that we played so far, 3 of them were like pretty fucking amazing, in my opinion. And therefore I made a battle report about them. But so like the possibility that you will end up with a very crazy end game, according to me, are higher.
Yeah, because I mean, in terms of like normal base game, you probably have like 1 in 10, 1 in 20 is like a really... And even then, a lot of those like maybe... They're not epic, they're just interesting. You know, it's not like some crazy stuff going on. Whereas you say like 3 in 8. Those are good odds.
Yeah, 3 in 8.
Those are good odds, man.
That's and just not to take too much time about this, but to allocate the other points quickly, the balance is closer to 50-50 than I think most people think. Because there is no, why should I play 3 people? It loses all that sense of fighting against the death of all hopes, the desperation. Like it's absolutely not the case. I don't know how that thing came into being. I think it has. I think that when you less non-expansion, maybe in that case you would say that yes, the 3 people have an upper end. But overall, if you know what you're doing, there is no way the 3 people are going to have so much advantage.
Sure.
And so yes, and in the beginning, not many people were playing WOM. So maybe few people tried it, and then they start to say to the other people. So it was more kind of a
word of mouth.
An oral tradition thing. You don't play WOM, and everybody was like, okay, you don't play WOM because so and so said so and so. So
And they're like, oh, someone says
going.
this, and then they've repeated, and then no one plays it. But it seems
Yeah.
like it's having a little bit of a renaissance, with the WOM championships and stuff. So, you've tempted me. I'm not going to lie. That 3-8 thing's got me kind of interested. I might have to give it a game.
But it's a lot of new elements, so that I cannot defend. That's true.
Got to get your head around
elements.
Yeah, because I found that with Loam initially. I found like it took me a little while to get my head around because I got so used to bass, and bass is kind of like it's comfortable. It's like I can just don't have to think about anything. Don't have to think about who am I going to put here or the extra minions. Just play, and it's becomes easy. But if you play enough Loam, it becomes the same. It's not like that crazy. It's not that complicated. So like I kind of gave you a couple of stock questions beforehand. So like before I go into that, do you feel like you have like how would you describe like your style of play as a general War of the Ring player? Do you have like I don't know, some people are more aggressive, some people are more defensive, some people are more maverick. Do you have like a TheFatHobbit style?
The TheFatHobbit style for Shadow is definitely super aggressive.
Yeah,
I'm a super aggressive.
I've noticed actually you like to I've seen it because I've obviously did a commentary on one of your games. Like, and you did it in our game actually. You went in with the Grond, and Grond is it's not it's pretty normal to play Grond, but like I feel like you're slightly more aggressive than some people are with cards like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I take a lot of risk, and sometimes I take so much risk that I fall for the 3 people military victory. That has happened more than once. I push myself so far.
Little bit too far, yeah.
Your strongholds, man, like, nah, who cares? And that's for Shadow. For 3 people, I don't know. I actually think I'm kind of a boring player for 3 people. Even though, like, that's my favorite side to play. I really love playing 3 people.
I think a lot of people say that. A lot of people enjoy the 3 people.
Yeah. It feels more... there is a challenge, there is a struggle to it in some sense.
Yeah, it's a different... I feel like with the Shadow, it's a little bit more like brain kind of using... It's more strategic in the way you have to maximize, all your big... It's more macro, I feel. Do you know what I mean? Like macro versus micro. Yeah. I feel like the 3 people's a little bit more micro. You can do kind of weird, tricky, fun things.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more creative sometimes, I think.
And I think it's harder to play good 3 peoples because like every small mistake is hardly punished.
Yeah.
With Shadow, okay, you can do mistakes sometimes. So like, okay, I'm gonna catch up. Like it's not such a big trouble. But with 3 people, like you don't know how to play mistake. One die, like it's over.
Totally,
There's
man.
no excuses.
Honestly, like the amount of games like last year where I would literally be on the 4th step of the track and it would almost be a guaranteed win, but in like I'd make one wrong move. I'd play Mithril Coat in the wrong order, or I'd forget that like I can hide because Gollum has now become the guide, and I don't instantly. I know I reveal by accident. I probably lost like 5 or 6 games because of like 1/2 a die with the 3 people, and it's my fault. But it's just those tiny, with the Shadow, it's usually not one thing that loses it for you. It's like a multitude of things. So yeah, I love that about the 3 people, but like, oh man, it's so annoying sometimes.
But I will add also that there is an Italian player in our Italian community, Bondiavolo, by the way.
Oh, Bondiavolo, yeah. Really nice guy.
He's kind of a tough coach for us. Not because like he's extremely skilled and he's teaching us what to do, but it's like he's demanding more 3 people military victory attempts.
Right. So
like,
pushing
it enough. You need to separate more companions. What is this? Like, you are the best player. You have to show us the way. You need to show us how you do it. And like, yeah, man, like I'm getting there. But it's right. Like that's an element that I don't particularly enjoy too much about base game, is that the opportunities for not necessarily 3 people military victory, but separating companion, for example, like you really need to think about it. You really need to be wary. I know that many people, for example, they crown Aragon turn 1. To me, like I don't know, like that's a big thing. For example, in the Spanish community.
Oh, really?
That's a big thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they do it a lot. We know that because like we have like this kind of tournament between our 2 nations.
Yeah, I've heard about that as well. So you're like you're in your little huddle going like, "Watch out, guys! They're gonna crown Aragon turn 1. Watch out!"
They're gonna do it more often than you would think, and
That's interesting.
I thought about it for a long time. Like I'm still not sure that's the right call.
I think it depends on the eyes, right?
The right
I mean,
thing to do.
there's kind of the conventional wisdom is like if there's 3 eyes and you have the right dice, then it's kind of good, and if it's like 2 eyes, then it's middle, and then if it's below 2 eyes, then it's like risky.
Yeah.
But
I can say
it's
that,
fun though. It makes for fun games, man. Those games are just like
they're fun.
Yeah, they're like 70% more, maybe like 100% more fun on average. You know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And now we have the 2 winners or the 2 finalists from the previous World Championship.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have Mole and Circle Darkon. That we had an interview after the result, like after the championship. We had an interview with them, and they're both saying that now they're kind of doing deep studying and trying to understand how to make it separating companion of 3 people military victory attempts more possible.
Wow, I love that. I love the commitment.
Nothing has come up yet, but we will see.
That's
now
cool,
I'm making a lot of looking for games as well with friendly base. I'm doing a lot of that because I would like to train that.
Experiment more. Okay. Yeah, because I do feel like that's an area where like the meta could even shift a little bit, maybe. Because people haven't experimented as much with that, at least. Because I have noticed that like some of the very best players, if you start doing free military stuff, even they're not comfortable. They're like, hey, I'm outside of my comfort zone. This is weird. So sometimes you can scare people. More than you would normally. So, yeah, it's cool. Do you have like a favorite? Like, I mean, this is kind of a big question, but do you have like a most memorable or favorite game you've ever played that like stands out?
I actually have, but the problem of memory is that probably I'm discarding very other memorable games. But there is one from the first year that I remember quite clearly, and it was like a friendly game that I played versus Pacha again. Like we were like kind of rival, like so like in a friendly way, we're like with the biggest shoe, and so we were fighting each other sometimes. And we had this friendly game who turned out to be 20 turns game.
Wow.
And I mean, it was epic, but it was also absurd and a little bit funny. So essentially what happens is that the fellowship was having a rough time, and they went from the high pass.
Yeah.
And they couldn't take it because like I was getting them every turn, but my military was kind of slow as a shadow player. And so they just said, okay, whatever, I'm gonna separate all companions and let's go for crazy attempts. And that was like it started to separate companions at turn 7 or 8, and then it lasted 12 more turns.
Oh my god!
And it was like this, it was this crazy game of how do you call that saxophone tune? I don't know if like I was thinking about it for the old game. It was a big chase. It's like the saxophone chase tune. I don't know if you remember. Like the that kind of stuff.
What's it called? My mind's gone blank. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I was thinking about
Benny Hill.
Exactly, bravo, Benny Hill. And so we were doing that because like Aragorn went from Umbar to Mount Gundabad. It was like the craziest thing. And then in the last turn, there was this epic, like the 3 people got his 4 military victory point. And he had maybe 3 regulars plus 1 elite plus some companion inside the Moria, and outside they had 5 regulars, 5 elites, and full Nazgul leadership. I was like, okay, with the last die, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna take down this stronghold, and I didn't.
You didn't? Oh my god!
I didn't, and therefore, like we finished all the cards from all decks, and at the end, Apache got the win. So
amazing.
It was quite epic.
Yeah, those games are the best. You don't. That's so. When you know it's pretty wild when you get through both of the decks. That's kind of the signifier. Like, okay, this is genuinely epic and stupid. I think the absurd element is that kind of makes those games the best as well. When just like dumb stuff happens, it's just like pretty stupid.
Yeah. No, very dumb. Yeah.
Yes. And the other question I had was, do you have like a favorite card?
Yeah, I was thinking about it today. I was like, damn, I cannot find like, it was easier for Shadow for some reason. For 3 people, I was like, I'm struggling here. But I picked one for 3 people and one for Shadow. And if I really need to pick one, I will tell you which one. But for 3 people, I picked Faramir's Rangers. Like
that's a great card.
I love that card. Like it's quite kind of like it's not the best card for 3 people,
Mm.
even though I think it's very good. But yeah, I love it. I think that if you can play it at the right occasion, you can really make a problem for the shadow player in the defense of Minas Tirith or other places.
It's definitely
So,
one of the most satisfying cards to play. It
yeah,
feels just really nice to play that card.
yeah, indeed. So I like that one. And for the shadow, I like flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a big fan of Shadows Gather.
Yeah, I love
Uh,
Shadows Gather, definitely, yeah.
yeah, which I actually think is probably, in my opinion, you can make some argument about the combat card effect, but in my opinion, is probably the best event strategy card for the shadow player. I
Yeah.
know that there are arguments for other cards, but for me, that's the best one.
Okay, I was just because I watched a game the other day. If it's turn 1 in your shadow and you have a really, really like shitty roll, you just have like 4 Palantirs and you have Shadows
Right.
Gather. Would you use
Yeah.
Shadows Gather turn 1 to like get your armies moving? Because you could like move the guy from Morannon 1 up and then go bloop bloop bloop. Or would you save it until later? Like, because I think that's an interesting situation. Because I'd love to save it until like do something exciting, but like, if your first turn is that shitty, would you use it?
So you're saying, for example, from Barad-dûr into Morannon,
Yeah, into
but
the one outside Morannon. If you move the army up, say you have
Dagorlad. Okay. No,
yeah.
okay. Like if there is the possibility to move a regular in
Maybe
Dagorlad,
you have like
uh,
one sea die, so you can move like one guy here. You know what I mean?
right? Yeah, I would do that. Yeah,
Okay.
personally, I would do that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And one other thing, like if you could improve the game, because you played a lot of War of the Ring, you played the base, the Lone Worm. Like if you could improve
Yeah.
the game in like one way, is there something that you feel like is like just imbalanced? Maybe especially about the base game because it gets more complex, like base or Loam, maybe.
I don't know. I think that all expansions, or even the fan-based material, like fan-made material, sorry,
Have you played
fan-made
that
material,
stuff?
they
Because
do.
there's a lot of stuff in like they've made, right?
Oh, I think I pretty much played everything. Not everything, but like the majority of them, because actually I'm working on this big video. Is gonna come out maybe not soon, but I'm working on it, where I kind of do a ranking of all the possible setups,
Oh wow.
official or not. Yeah, and I give my own opinion about them, and then like the idea would be that people they comment or like ignites some conversation, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody giving I like that setup, so because anyway, so yes, I've tried many of that, and I think there are so many options out there that I think pretty much everything is being covered to fix stuff. I mean, Wastes of the Witch King is pretty great. For example, if you want to focus more on the Eriador region of the map,
Yeah.
uh, it's I don't know if you're aware of it. It's a fan-made
No.
expansion done by Vanali.
Right. Okay.
So very very nice. This Spanish community did their own expansion called Smaug Leaves.
So that was actually
Smoke.
made by the Spanish, because I saw like was it Fran Atleti or somebody was putting a lot of stuff up about it. I didn't realize it was actually created by the Spanish. That's wow. Okay.
I think the original idea was made by a certain guy on the BGG community called Scott Bugler or something in the
Uh
like.
huh.
And then, but like it was an interesting idea, but there were some problems with the rules, like mechanically it didn't function too much, and there were like it was a little bit, it was not perfect from the design point of view. And then Fran Atleti, together with Barbarisco, which is probably the best Spanish player of all time on the international ladder, they worked together to create this small but very funny expansion. And yes, sometimes the fan-made expansions, they, in my opinion, they get better compared to the official material. For example, Smoke Leaves is kind of a different take on the Fate of Erebor.
Right.
Personally, I would play Smoke Leaves all the time.
Wow.
I would pick that one all the time. It's a little bit more this kind of casino thing that you said, because if you awaken Smaugs in Erebor, all kinds of stuff can happen. But it's very thematic, it's very funny. So I don't know. I wouldn't do anything particular. Something that I was thinking about recently was just, if it's just base game, maybe to create kind of but this like it's not my idea. Like many people have been thinking about this for a long time, especially in the Italian community. But like to create slightly stronger versions of the companion outside the fellowship, so that you are a little bit more
kind of
inclined to separate them or use them in a different way.
So you get more of an actual benefit from separating them.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
That's it. I would say. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I mean, like, I could probably talk about this all night.
Me too.
But I think, I feel like that's been a really good chat, and if it's been really good to meet you. Really fun playing the game earlier. So if people enjoy this, please write comments below, saying if you'd like more episodes of this. I'll be happy to do more of these. I think it's a fun idea. But yeah, awesome to meet you, dude. Have a great evening, and I'm sure we'll play again sometime.
Yeah, you too. Thanks a lot for having me as the first guest. So honored. I wish you the best of luck for this format, because I think it's a very nice idea, and it deserves to get a lot of recognition. So
awesome.
Good job.
Thanks, man. And it's been really interesting hearing about it. Like I'm genuinely way more inspired to play WOM, and like I'd never even considered playing like the fan expansions, but now I'm like genuinely thinking like Smaug doing funny stuff sounds interesting. Like that sounds cool. So yeah.
Whenever you're interested, hit me up. I'm gonna send you some material. So
great, will do. All right, peace out, dude. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.